It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and Flow Man, I thought we might have a look before we talk about the SANFL. I may have got along to one of the SANFL games last week, but before we check that out, I want to talk about AFLW. We talked about the AFL just a moment ago. If you're just tuning in now, the AFLW is up to the preliminary final stage, and I've got a bit of a beef with the AFL on this. Right. Why don't the AFL play the AFLW clashes midweek?
Right. Any reason?
Give it some clean air. At the moment, the AFLW preliminary final this week at Adelaide Oval will be played at 1:30 on a Saturday. The other preliminary final will be played in Brisbane, I think at 2:30 or 2:35. They're just not getting any exposure because AFL proper is happening at the same time. Why wouldn't we have a spot, even if it was a Thursday night where we played the preliminary finals and kept Thursday night free for the AFLW finals for a couple of weeks and made the guys all go back to a traditional style of format just to give them some clean air? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the AFL's moved its Thursday night games now. They've decided to go back to its traditional Friday night for its second round of matches. But Western Bulldogs play Brisbane at Mars Stadium in the AFL competition at exactly the same time that match virtually is kicking off when the AFLW game in Adelaide is kicking off. So I think you make a very valid point, albeit that there hasn't been programming too poorly in respect to that. But then you go to SANFL matches, which if you're taking local league football, and a lot of supporters that would go to, say, a local league of Bulldogs, North Adelaide, Glenelg, Norwood type people that might go out and also watch the AFLW, then they've got their matches scheduled at 2:10 p.m. on Saturday, and I'm not talking one match, I'm talking round 2 football has at the Alberton Oval, Port play the Bulldogs in a traditional rival type game, North play the Panthers, North versus South as such, Sturt play the Redlegs, another couple of really traditional rivals, that's at least at the 3 p.m. time slot, but the Glenelg side then play the Eagles at 4:10, a bit later, and then West Adelaide play the Adelaide Crows at 4:10. So they have programmed the Adelaide Crows men's SANFL side outside of the football that's being played in the AFLW.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go to Adelaide Oval, watch the AFLW preliminary final. Tickets already booked. I'm looking forward to it. And then I'm going to head back to Richmond on the way home and watch the Adelaide Crows SANFL side go at it against the West Adelaide Footy Club. So what a day of football, Flow Man.
You program yourself up well, but I'm just not sure the AFL has.
No, I agree. But looking at the SANFL, and look, I want to say big good luck to all of the girls to preliminary finals. Thankfully we'll get a standalone grand final at the Adelaide Oval. If the Adelaide Crows get there, I think that you could have 45,000 maybe by then. At least 40,000 will be allowed. So that should be a fantastic crowd for the girls.
And you make a point about where you program AFLW with the grand final and what it comes up against with TV audience in the AFL proper, the men's comp, becomes a really interesting question. If it's Brisbane and the Crow girls in a grand final, say, for instance, then wouldn't it be very interesting to see where they place that in relation to Melbourne-based games in men's football? I think that's what we'd be looking to have a look at. But ultimately, it's going to be a big AFLW. Who's your tips for the 2 prelims?
I think the Crows will beat Melbourne. Daisy Pearce is under a bit of an injury cloud still. I don't think she's going to get up. That's going to hurt Melbourne. And I think Brisbane will win the other one too.
Right, so over Collingwood.
Brisbane over Collingwood up there, but that one will be a really close game.
Okay, I'm going with Collingwood over Brisbane, and I reckon the Crow girls might have turned the tables on the Melbourne side from that round 7 clash where they actually got beaten by 4 goals.
That's right.
By Daisy Pearce's girls.
Now, I spent last Saturday down at Noarlunga. Last Friday afternoon. Good Friday it was. The Adelaide Crows played a Good Friday night game at Adelaide Oval, and in the afternoon, their SANFL side headed to Noarlunga. Now, as you know, Flo Man, I am a Panthers supporter from way back.
You are.
So it was good to get a look at some of the young Crows, but at the same time be barracking for the Panthers, who were dominant, beat them by 61 points, and the air horn in the past players bar at Noarlunga was going bonkers, Flo Man. Bonkers, I tell you what. We saw the number 1 draft pick in this game.
Did we?
Yep, young Horn for South Adelaide. He is a star. He was the best man on the ground by a street.
How old is he?
Only a young 17-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yep, he will go in the draft next year very high. I expect him to go in the top 3 spots.
Already you've picked that.
Yep, he's as classy as I've seen a youngster at that age.
All right, Norwood beat the Port Adelaide side in the traditional rivals game. It was a one-sided affair. Norwood, too good for the Port Adelaide side, which has a whole heap of AFL players in it. So that's pretty good win by Norwood, I reckon, there. Central's 15-9 over the Roosters, 14-6 in the close one.
Big upset.
Yeah, Centrals have got some good players. They've recruited
They've
well to the
lost
club.
a few good ones too.
Yeah, but maybe they were part of the group that were the ageing veterans that were nearly through. So,
well, huge story in Central Districts because they lost the 2 Menzels. We'll talk about where they went in a moment. But they've recently just had their best and fairest winner walk away from the footy club after not getting selected in round 1. So Boyd, it was, who won their best and fairest last year, didn't get picked in round 1. And has basically said, well, I'm off.
Yeah, North Adelaide too. That could be just around the mark still. I don't think they're poor. You're worried about them. Woodville West Torrens are going to be okay. 13-16 over Sturt, 7-6. And then what about this? The Bays.
For the record in that game too, the 2 Menzels kicked 7 between them for the Eagles.
Yeah, good move from them, I would reckon. And Glenelg 13-11-89, beating West Adelaide 11-12-78. There's a lot to be said about Westies have improved. Glenelg has still got a great recruiting zone in the southeast, so we'll be watching a lot of those players closely. In the SANFL, we'll be giving you some coverage here on The Flow on our Friday afternoon throughout the season.